I'm Carolina, I'm 18 years old, I'm from Colombia, and this is my story. I come from a little town outside of Medellin, Colombia. Um, it, my childhood was amazing. I lived there for 12 years of my life with my parents and my sister, and all my family lived there as well. So it was really a great place to live because it was really peaceful and since it was like outside of the city, it wasn't actually like a city, so there weren't as many cars and dangers. So I would be able to go out with my friends, and it was amazing. I started the school year in Colombia, it's from January to December, unlike yours that it's from September to May or whatever. And so I began to do sixth grade in Colombia, and I did from January to June. So I came here so that I could start the year in September, the school year here. So I was supposed to be in sixth grade, but yeah, in sixth grade. No, seventh grade. I'm sorry. And then they like moved me back, so I'm like a year behind. So I went to my middle school the day before just to like know where my class was at, whatever, and with my dad. And the teacher that I had was like, she was from Puerto Rico, so she was like really nice. She was talking to my dad in Spanish, so I was like, oh, like it's not gonna be that bad. The next day when it was actually class, I was by myself. I took like a bus to the place, to the school, and when I got there, she wouldn't speak Spanish at all. And I would like tell her in Spanish, like, oh, I don't understand what you're saying, like, what are you. And she was like, oh, like, no, 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 no. And she would keep telling me, like, things in English that I would understand. I felt like everyone, like, that was in the class was laughing at me. It was horrible. So, like, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. So I, like, sat down and then I started crying. Like, I remember I started crying. Like, nobody, like, really noticed because I wasn't like, I was just, like, like, tearing up. But it was horrible. And then the homeworks, in Colombia, when you're like in middle school and like elementary school, you don't move from like room to room. You stay in the room and the teachers come to you. And then when I saw everyone was getting up, I was like, what are we doing? He's like, oh no, we're going to science class. And I'm like, but why? Like, isn't it here? And I was like, no, it's like in a classroom. So you have to like get your schedule and go find a classroom. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I got up and whatever. I remember my first friend, like she was so nice and she helped me and she was Puerto Rican too. She was like, oh, like I'll tell you where to go. Like I think I'm going to the same class anyway, so I'll go with you. And then yeah, and then start there. And then there were some teachers that didn't really speak Spanish, but they have like translators, like secretaries type of things that would like translate to us sometimes. And they would, but the homework, like the math. I remember math. She gave us a book and she was like, oh, do the problems, da 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 da. And I was like, okay, good, because I was really good at math coming from Colombia. Since I was like advanced, some of the people in my class didn't even know how to like multiply by two, and I was just like, oh, like what are you doing? Like I knew this, and so I was really good at that. But then when she gave us like the problems in English, I would just be like, well, God, what am I supposed to do? And I used to go home and I used to translate them. But sometimes when you put them in Google Translate or whatever you're using, it doesn't actually, like go like how it is. Like it doesn't translate it exactly how it is. So you feel like oh, like it's lost because it confuses you with the words, and I'm like, that makes no sense. So it was horrible. Like I would sit and cry, and like I would spend hours trying to find out what the one paragraph said, and then so that I would be able to do my homework. But it was horrible. Sometimes I would even go to my dad's. Well, now it's my dad's restaurant, but before he used to just work there, and we used to go, and I would sit there, and he used to wait for people that he knew that like spoke English, so that they could tell me what the paragraph meant, so that I could do my homework. It was really like, and I used to hate my dad at that point. Like I remember I used to like call him names and I'd be like, oh, this is all your fault. Like I would blame her for everything because at that moment I saw him as the reason why we moved, and I was just like I can't. Everything was there, and you made me move. I was happy there. I had my friends, I had my family, my cousins, and you made me move here by myself. I don't understand anything the teacher says, so it was really horrible. It was really bad. It was. Ugh, I even remember, like, it gives me chills. Like, I even makes me want to cry sometimes when I like talk about it, because it's like it was a really bad experience for me. Like, I remember, like, I felt everyone would look at me, make fun of me, and I remember sometimes my dad's face, like, so sad and like depressed, like seeing me trying to like do my homework, but I couldn't, and like and knowing that I was feeling that it was his fault. I feel like he just felt like devastated. He was like, oh, like I now my mom tells me, now that we've been, passed over this, my mom is like, oh, like when you used to cry like that and you used to blame him for everything, he will come home after and he will cry to me and he will feel so bad because he felt like it was his fault and whatever. But yeah, it was really bad. The English part, kind of like, for us, because in Colombia now it's like everyone has to speak English for everything. It's really like demanding. Like, if you speak English, they will hire you anywhere in any company, even if you don't have a college degree, because they're really like it's really important. All my cousins like now speak English because it's like there's classes in college that you have to like know English in order to take them. So they teach them like how they teach us here. So it's really important. So I guess that, like, you know, I guess motivate him to. I feel like sometimes I don't feel embarrassed at all. I love being Colombian and Spanish or whatever. But I feel like sometimes you do. I feel like my parents don't speak English. And I feel like sometimes, I don't feel embarrassed of them, but I feel embarrassed of them not adapting completely to a country. Because I feel like, I know it's hard for them. I know it definitely, if it was hard for me, it still is hard for me. I can't imagine for them. They don't have time to study, they don't have time to go to school because they work all the time. But I feel like we should be adapting to a culture. We shouldn't be doing the same thing that we did. Like, I tell my dad all the time, Dad, why do we have to go, like, I understand if you want Colombian food or whatever, but why do we have to go to Market Basket and go directly to that session? Why can't we just go, to the other side? Like, why? I don't understand. Like, we live here now, might as well, might as well get, adapt to what's here. Like, be American, feel American. I feel there has been like a few, like, since I've been living here, like a few attempts to like do a reform about like immigration, and I know, and it's just, I feel like it should happen, and it's because I've been in those shoes of not having papers, of not being able to go out in like out of the country, and it's just like, it's just really sad. Like, I have friends like right now that have no papers, and I know they can only like, they can't, like, if they're going to college, they have to pay everything. So they're not in college. They just finished high school and that's where they are. They can't get an actual like a job, like, let's say in a hospital, because I used to work at MGH. They can't do that. They can't do like a retail store, like a really famous retail store, because they're gonna ask them for a social. They don't have that. So I feel like they're like limited to working in restaurants, or that's where people would actually, I don't know, my friends have this like, where they have like a fake, not a fake, but like somebody else's social. It's like, so they get into like doing like illegal things that you're not supposed to. So I feel like they should have like the opportunity. I would definitely tell them to go, to do it. Like my cousin, I tell my cousins all the time, come.
Just go
You
for
can
it.
see, just come. You can stay in my house while, meanwhile you find a job or you can move out. Come, like, you should definitely do it. I feel like I don't know how, since they're already like they have already done like a career in Colombia, like they already graduated from college or whatever. I don't know how would they work if they would be able to find a job, but I feel like there's so many opportunities here. Like there's so many things to do that you can't even imagine. Like there's like crazy amounts of like in Colombia you can't get a job even it's so hard to get a job even if you are a college graduate. My sister's 15, she has a job. So it's like you should definitely do it. You will find a job. You will do it. If you want to do it, you will get a job. So it's like, come. Like I will tell anybody, come. I will be gladly to have you in my house. So I tell all my friends. I have friends that have moved because they like it and it's awesome. I love this country now. I used to hate it, now I love it.